now we may or may not get to today. If we don't get to them today, we'll get to them next week. Last week I preached about grumbling. It's hard for a preacher to hear his own words, especially at about 3 o'clock in the morning, coming right back at him in St. Joseph's Hospital. Because I was grumbling with God this last week. I told him, I don't have time for this. And then I told him what I had to do this Sunday. You know what he told me? I didn't ask. God never does ask us what we have time for. He tells us what we're going to do. He tells us to trust in Him and not to grumble about what we are doing. Even preachers have to be reminded of that every so often. But I do want to say thank you for the many prayers and the calls. As Glenn puts it, there's a lot of good Methodist prayers that go up, and you can definitely feel them. I could definitely feel them this last week while we were at the hospital. My wife could also feel them because she kept reminding me the Lord didn't ask me also. And then she kept reminding me about what I just preached on. So at least I know she listened last week. But I want to just encourage y'all to do something that Scott talked about this morning. Praying to God. Our Bible tells us to pray without ceasing. Take everything to the Lord, whether it is good or bad. Not just the bad times, but the good times. We so often want to go to God during the bad times, but how often do we go to Him when we should? In other words, when everything is perfect. He wants to hear from us to say, hear our gratitude, to say thank you for what He has done for us. I thank Him every day for the fact that He gives me strength enough to get out of the bed. It may not be the same strength every day, but He still gives me strength. Amen. And it needs to be thankful. Yes. We may not be in the situation we want to be in. We may not have the job we want. We may not have the money we want. We may not have the house we want. But God's provided everything for us. Amen. I believe that. And when we're praying for God to do something, we need to let Him do it in His time, not ours. Because if we do it in our time, we're going to mess it up. That's right. Because that's what we do, is we mess up and we turn to God to fix our mess ups. And if that ain't proper English, I really don't care. But I'm going to tell you, God can fix everything. Yes. All you got to do is have a little faith and trust in Him. Last Wednesday night we were in the Gospel of John chapter 3, which I think is the most important. And it's not because of chapter or verse 16. It's because the whole chapter tells us to have faith in the Lord with everything we do, everything we think, everything we say. Just have faith in Him. I feel like at times all of us is lacking that mustard seed faith. Amen. Once you accept the Lord, kids, once you accept the Lord, that's the mustard seed faith. You must let it grow. It cannot stay there in that position where it is not growing. Because God's going to get your attention one way or another. It may not be the same for each and every one of us, but we have to have faith that He is going to take care of our illnesses in His time. And it may not be the way that we expect for it to be done. It may be the ultimate healing, which is what Pep is fixing to have. Is he's going to have the ultimate healing. We have been praying for his healing. Yes, we wanted to be selfish and have it here on earth, but God said, no, I need him home. Amen. He has done his mission. He is giving all he can give to y'all. I'm bringing him home to me. And I'm going to tell y'all, I don't know Pep as well as some of y'all do, but every time I've been around him, he is one of the finest Christian gentlemen I'd ever met. Amen. And last Wednesday I talked about Christian perfection. Pep was one of the men that comes to mind when it comes to Christian perfection.
Yeah.
Because he's humble and he does what God needed him to do. And he's still humble, and this time he's just ready to go home. And we all see people who get ready to go home. And we may not understand why God takes some at a younger age and some at an older age. But there again, God didn't ask us, did he? God said, this is my plan. I have a plan for each and every one of y'all. And if you will hush up, shut up, and get out of my way, it will happen. A lot of times, I've got to shut up and get out of God's way. Because when I get in God's way, that's when it's my plan and not God's plan. That's where we all need to get, is into God's plan. That's why I'm excited about where our church is going right now, and it's through prayer. I'm excited about these young faces right here on the front row.
Yes.
I'm excited about that young lady who reached out to us through modern technology and has called us her church family before she ever met us. We were her church family. We've had people see what we're doing on the streets and said, I want to be part of that ministry. That's what it's about. It's not about what God can do for us. It's what can we do for God. Yeah, I know that's close to what Kennedy said way back in the 60s. Don't ask what you can do for your country. Ask what your country can do for you. We need to say, what can I do for God? It may be backwards. I wasn't born when he said it. He died 3 years before I was born to the day, almost to the moment. But I'm going to tell you, it works for Christians to not always ask God, but say, what can I do for you today? You have done so much for me. You've given me eternal life. You have given me peace, but yet I still want to fuss about whatever you put in front of me. It would have been real easy for me to fuss. I did complain to my wife because she did eventually make me go to the doctor. I fussed at her, but it was a losing situation. And once we got there, they didn't give me a choice of, the only choice they gave me was which hospital are you going to. And once we got there, they definitely didn't give me any choices. They said, this is what we're going to do. And I am glad to know that they found a heart inside of me. They couldn't tell me anything else, but they told me I had a heart. But I can guarantee you one of the things that they saw in those pictures was a picture of Jesus inside my heart.
Amen. That's good.
Because they took enough of them, they had to find me. And that's where Jesus lives. But he can't stay there. He's got to be let out. Yes, we open the door and we let him into our hearts. But we must let him out. We must let him out because that's what he has called us to do. He hasn't called us to just stand still. He said, you will do far greater things than even I, David. There's a couple of you in here, so I can say that. You can do far greater things than him, Josh. How about that? You can do far greater things than even Jesus Christ has done for us. Isn't that amazing? And I'm going to tell y'all all the secret. You want to know when you're going home? When God's finished with you. And not a moment before. My grandfather used to love to say, your days on this earth is numbered like the hairs on your head. Well, I'm glad that my days ain't going with the hairs on my head because I ain't got a lot left. I got the rickitis back there. But I'm going to tell you, I know God's not finished with me. I know he's not finished with you. And I know God's got some great plans. Not just for me and you, but for this church.
Yes.
For this community. And we need to be praying and thanking him for what he's already done. the fact that we have these programs for our kids, not just here on Sunday morning, but we got them now on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights, and it's expanding. But not only do we have programs for them, we have programs for our slightly older youth also. I'm not going to call you old. The only person I'll call old in here today is me. But I'm going to tell you something. If you'll smile, God will smile back with you.
Okay.
Don't frown out there this morning. Because I'm here to tell you, this world is nothing but love.
Amen.
And if we will love the people in this world, we will change the world.
Yes.
Coca-Cola that long time ago, share a Coke and a smile. Share Jesus and a smile instead. It goes a lot further. We need more Jesus. Amen?
Amen.
Glad y'all still awake.
Amen.
My wife told me I could preach this morning as long as I stood still and didn't get too excited. I'm working on not getting too excited part. But I'm going to tell you, when I'm talking about my hero, Jesus Christ, it's hard not to get excited. There's a lot of people who think these earthly people are heroes. And I'm not talking about them fictional ones, Superman, Batman, or any of those. Or any of those football players, or any of those baseball players. They're not our heroes. Jesus is our hero. Our military is our hero. Our first responders. The ones who are putting everything on the line for us. That's the true heroes of this world. You are also heroes. Because you are putting your life, exactly what the disciples did with Jesus. You're following. You're putting your life in His hands. Allstate says in the good hands, they ain't got good hands. Jesus does. It'll be like Noah on Friday night, they'll catch the touchdown pass. Yeah, I read the article, Noah. Because Donnie scored, he scored, so Noah was the hero of that game for his team. But you know what? It doesn't compare, does it? We may think that the bridge or the whatever we're on, the road, is never going to end. But I'm here to tell you, just stick it out. Glorious things are going to happen when you least expect it. And it's going to be better than what you expected in the first place.
That's good.
Amen?
That's good.
Because God's going to give you the best. Because you cannot outgive God. That's one thing you can't do. My mom always said, can't never could. Well, that's one thing you can't do, is you can't outgive God. Because if you give with a proper heart, which is the only way to give, your blessings is going to be tenfold. And it tells me that right here. The story that I'm going to be preaching on next Sunday, Lord's ahead of schedule because I'm keeping this sermon, because I'm going to start a series on the stories of Exodus. But this story right here is an amazing story of salvation. The same salvation that we have through Jesus Christ. The world has been suffering from the beginning of sin. It really hasn't changed. There's evil in our world from the day sin entered. We need to put more love out. And maybe we won't hear about that senseless thing that happened in Jasper County with a 2-year-old died. To me, that's senseless. But I'm going to tell you, we need to love, and I'm going to put it the unpolitically correct way, the hoodlums of this world. We need to love the people who aren't exactly like us.
Amen.
We need to show them the true love. And we need to say what Jesus said on the cross. Father, Forgive them, for they know not what they do. And I'm going to put a paraphrase to the end of that, because we haven't told them. We didn't do our job. We didn't let you out. I wanted to be selfish with what you've given me. But today is not a day to be selfish. It is a day, praise the Lord,
Amen.
to give everything back to Him. To thank Him for the good and the bad. To thank Him for what He's doing right this minute. And thank Him for what He's going to do tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. Because my God has an awesome plan. Your God has an awesome plan. We've got the same God, don't we, Iris?
Yes, we do.
He's got an awesome plan. And I'm going to tell you, when it breaks loose, I'm going to say, I told you so. That my God can do it. And He's going to do it.
Amen.
Just like He does each and every day. Our closing hymn is, I Need Thee Every